Around the end of October, American Express announced some semi-significant changes to the benefits of the Hilton Aspire credit card. So with those changes, is it still worth it to keep the expensive annual fee Hilton Aspire credit card? Let's compare the old and new benefits and see how it pans out. One of the major changes is regarding the Hilton Resort credit. Previously, each cardholder gets $250 of resort credit at eligible Hilton resorts worldwide every card member year. And that's not calendar year, it's cardholder anniversary year. And instead of having that benefit, it is now a $200 resort credit that's given on a semi-annual basis. So you overall get $400 of Hilton Resort credit, but it's only $200 for the first 6 months of the year, and then another $200 for the second half of the year. Overall, it could be good or bad depending on how you would typically use these credits. It can be a little bit difficult to use it depending on where you live and where you like to travel because there's only a select number of eligible resorts in the world, especially in the US if you're based in the US. There's a decent number of hotels you can select from that's on this list, but it's definitely not every hotel. So you do have to plan a little bit in order to take advantage of this resort credit. And so previously, I didn't really have too much of an issue utilizing that every year as long as I make sure that one of my vacations involves staying at an eligible Hilton resort where this credit can be used. But now you kind of have to do that twice in 1 year to be able to fully take advantage of the total of $400 in resort credit. What is also interesting is that this is now based on calendar year rather than cardholder anniversary year. So it's a little bit easier to keep track of in terms of whether or not you still have this benefit left at the end of the year when you're trying to max out all of your credit card benefits so that you don't have to so much remember when your account anniversary year is. So that is one benefit to it. What I consider to be the second major change to the benefits is with regard to the flight credit. Previously, cardholders received $250 annually of airline incidental fee reimbursements. That was considered to be a little bit difficult to use at times because the cardholder had to select a specific airline for that benefit to be used on. And you also had to just limit yourself to using it for checked luggage fees or in-flight food and beverage purchases, for example. There were some workarounds where you can make that benefit more easily usable for other things. But with this new change, it will be a lot easier to use this flight credit in the sense that the flight credit can be used for basically any purchases made directly with the airline or through amextravel.com as long as it's associated with the flight. So for example, it can be applied to your plane ticket cost, or it can be used for upgrades, for example, and these things were not really eligible based on the previous benefit. What is interesting with this change, though, is that rather than giving you a lump sum, $200 to use at one time for the flight credit, which is what it used to be with a $250 credit, this $200 credit for this new benefit is divvied up into $50 statement credits per quarter. You might think that, oh, okay, well, that means I have to fly 4 different times, one time in each quarter to utilize this benefit, but that's not really the case because in the US for the domestic airlines, there's been a much better flexibility when it comes to changing or canceling flight tickets. And so, for example, you could potentially just book a flight and charge it to your eligible card and get your $50 in statement credit for that quarter, and then just cancel that plane ticket and deposit the credit into your airline account to be used for a future flight purchase. You will want to make sure to keep in mind the expiration dates on those so that you don't end up letting those credits expire if you did end up canceling a ticket to save the credit for future use. So that's something to just make sure to keep in mind. But I do think this is actually somewhat of a positive change in the overall benefit for the card to have this $200 flight credit that's a lot easier to use. Although the negative, of course, is that you would have to make sure to use it 4 times, 1 time in each quarter, to max it out. A third change to the benefits is with regards to earning extra free night rewards each year. To me, this doesn't really play a role in whether or not I want to keep the card because I don't put that much spending onto the credit card itself. But if you do put a lot of spending on the credit card, it could be beneficial to you with this change because now if you spend $30,000 or more in purchases per calendar year on the card, you can earn an additional free night reward. So that's kind of cool if you are already putting a lot of spending on it, but otherwise it might not really matter to you. A fourth change to the credit card benefits is that there is now a $189 Clear Plus credit per calendar year for cardholders. This could be helpful if you don't already have another card that gives you this benefit and there is Clear Plus service offered at the airports that you travel through frequently. Otherwise, it may not be that helpful to you. Complimentary National Car Rental Emerald Club Executive status is now also a benefit for cardholders of the American Express Hilton Aspire credit card. Personally, I don't rent cars very often when I travel, and so this is not really pertinent to me. But if you are someone who rents cars often, this might be quite valuable to you. And finally, cell phone protection can now be had if you charge your monthly cell phone bill to your Hilton Aspire credit card. And now onto the negatives. While there were some semi-positive benefit changes to the card, there are some negative ones too. For example, the Priority Pass Select benefit is no longer going to be part of the Hilton Aspire credit card. This may or may not be a big deal to you depending on if you already have other credit cards that offer Priority Pass Select. I personally have, I think, 4 different Priority Pass Select cards because of the different credit cards that come with this benefit. So it doesn't really affect me personally. But if this is the only credit card you have that offers the Priority Pass, it is kind of a huge bummer to lose out on that because having access to airport lounges is quite nice and convenient for those who enjoy traveling. And finally, there is a change to the annual fee. The card was already pretty expensive with an annual fee of $450. Now the annual fee will be $550. Here is a table to summarize and compare the differences between the old benefits and the new benefits. Again, for the resort credit, it's changed from $250 per account anniversary year to an overall $400 benefit for each calendar year, but that's divided into the first half of the year and the second half of the year, so $200 for each half of the year. And the airline credit is going from $250 per calendar year with restrictions to now $200 per year, but divided into $50 per quarter. There is that ability to earn extra free night certificates if you put a lot of spending onto the card. And then there is the new rental car status with National that's now available, as well as the clear credit and cell phone protection. But I think the most significant negative change is the loss of the priority pass and an increase in $100 for the annual fee. The Hilton Aspire credit card has been one of my personal favorites for many years. I've kept it in my wallet year after year in spite of the high annual fee of $450. This is how I value the different benefits that come with the card. For the free night certificate, I associate at least $300 in value to that because it's very easy to get at least $300 in value by using that free night certificate at a Hilton hotel each year. I believe the $200 airline credit will be very easy to use thanks to the ability to cancel flights after purchasing them and then depositing that for future use. Of course, keep in mind that you have to book the flight at the appropriate class because oftentimes, for example, the saver fare for a flight is not cancelable or not refundable at all. The $400 resort credit, I think, can be relatively easy to use, depending on just how many trips I take and where I take those trips and whether or not there's eligible Hilton resorts in those areas. So this is kind of to be determined, but I think I will be able to manage to at least get $200 of this credit per year. And I really value the diamond status that comes with this credit card because it offers you free breakfast or food and beverage credit depending on where you're at, as well as being eligible to get room upgrades and early and late checkouts, and to have access to the executive lounge for hotels that have the executive lounge. So that's a really nice perk associated with the diamond status too. So overall, I would value the benefits that come with the card to be at least $500 to $700 per year, and that's not even including the benefits that come with the diamond status. And so with that, I think the annual fee of $550 could still be worth it. With these different changes in the benefits in mind, I personally do plan to keep my Hilton Aspire credit card. I look forward to using it and testing out these new benefits to see how much I can maximize them each year. Do you plan to keep your credit card or open the account based on these changes? I hope this was helpful to you and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching.